And welcome everybody. Just a few words on what you're going to see in this video. It is meant to show you how I usually do paint my eyes on busts and miniatures, and more particularly it does show you how I painted the eyes on this Joker bust. Now the first few minutes are footage from my stream where I was painting the foundation of the eyes, so the white basically, and the second half or the last 2/3 of the video are recorded off stream, so I can show you more in depth how I'm painting the iris, the pupils, and the reflections in the eyes. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments, and see you next time. Start with a gray, not with white directly. And keep some of that red inside the corners. Adding more and more white, just highlighting it like it was a normal sphere. Okay, so the eye should have a shadow from the uplid. So add that. Okay, so this is a small video where I show you how I painted the eyes of the Joker. And this is after setting up the base of the eyeballs. So the part I'm touching here is the shadow of the upper lid, and we painted a bit of a gradient from the outside of the eye to the inside. It got a lot more lighter that way. And now I'm taking dark blue. You can actually decide here on what eye color you want. It's up to you. And try to paint a circle that starts just where it would hit the lower eyelid, and part of the upper eyelid covers that round shape. That's just how eyes work. The pupils, the iris is always a bit covered by the upper eyelid. Make sure you get a round circle. And in this case I decided to have him look a bit to his left side. Make sure you get an even coverage of the color, so that you have an even first coat to work with. Also do the same on the other side, and here you want to make sure that the circle covers the same area on your other eye, just like the first one. And this is to avoid making it look cross-eyed. Again, try to get an even first coat. Again, some of the iris is covered by the upper lid. And if your bust or miniature is looking some other way, you have to adjust accordingly. So if it was looking down, then of course a lot of the iris would be covered by the lower lid. So here I'm just making sure they do look into the same direction and that there's no cross-eyed impression going on. Fixing a minor mistake I did here, so you can just take the off-white if you do a mistake and outline your iris again. Next I'm adding a bit of white. You can also add a brighter blue, depending a bit on the color you want to have. And here I'm explaining that I take into account where the light comes from. So in this case, light will be coming from the left if you look at it directly, and that's why you will have some shine in the lower right corner of the eye, of the iris. And sort of if you were painting a gem, because the eye is a round object and most of the iris is sitting on top of the eye, and it sort of is like an orb that is see-through, and that's where light would accumulate and reflect. So painting a ring around the very center of the eye, leaving some space for the pupil there. And what you want to do is try to create a gradient with that color. You can see here I picked up some lighter color. And just making sure that the light accumulates at some point. Not going up to white, because we want to reserve white for the total reflection point that is going to be placed exactly in the opposite direction of the lightest area of this gradient. The gradient is too intense or not intense enough. You can always correct. That's what I'm doing here, darkening it down a bit. And if you're happy with it, the next step is to take pure black. We're not there yet, I'm still fixing some of the gradient. Yeah, depending a bit on how light you want the eyes to be and how much they should pop out, you can go for a really light color here or for a darker color. Probably depending on ethnicity and so on. And design choice as well, of course. Decided to go for more steel blue, gray eyes here. Sort of blue-eyed devil. And just trying to give the overall impression of that see-through sphere. Again, like I said, like you would paint a gem on a miniature. Right, taking some black now and emphasizing the pupil. So since the pupil is more or less a hole in the middle of your eye, it is really black and really intense, so we need to focus on that. Make sure the circles are round. You don't want any distortions because that will look odd. And now going for yeah, going for the total reflection point. Like I said, just opposite to where the lightest spot of your gradient is, also on the second eye. And we're already finished. I'm gonna show you a close-up. There we go. And it didn't even take too long. So that's the way I do paint my eyes.